Hi, my name is Jenks. My name is, it's my English name, my Chinese name is Jian. I'm delivering this from Melbourne, Victoria, in Australia. We're facing the second COVID lockdown here. Life is a little bit tough, but thankfully I can still do my job from my home. I work as a developer evangelist at a company called Xero. We do accounting software for small and medium businesses. We actually have a decent office in Denver where Leia is located. But today is there's nothing more boring than accounting and software combined. But Xero does a really good job at making it fun for everyone to work in. I've been there for 2 years. But today is not about my job or my company. Well, a little bit about my job, but not about my company. It's about me. I hope I can share with you a story about my personal growth, how a graduate engineer finds his dream job. You might find this content a little bit opinionated because it's my personal story. The stuff that I have shared here, the method that I've shared here, may not work for you, but please take it with a grain of salt. I never thought I would be given a whole hour to speak or 45 minutes to speak, so I prepared this to go for 15 minutes. However, I do love to hear your problems, your thoughts, so please feel free to pop your question in the Q&A chat or just ask me directly after the presentation. Now, 3 years ago, on the late Melbourne winter night, I sat in front of my computer and fired up a computer program to start my nightly study on technology. The title was called Cisco Certified Network Associate Exam Simulation. Wow, just reading it makes me feel tired. All of a sudden, a gush of discomfort, fatigue just hit me. I can't help but wonder, if I keep studying like this, am I going to pass the exam on the third try? Or am I going to fall asleep on the desk again, like last night? After a short reflection of my underachievement, I was ready to get going with it. Okay, I said to myself, just one more exam and I'm off to bed. At this moment, the room next to me, my newborn baby just started crying after her mother just put her down 15 minutes ago. I spent my whole day at work and my wife took on the house duty. Should I be a good husband and offer her a break tonight? As I was thinking about it, my offshore engineer on duty called. The deployment could not go ahead because certain business requirements were not understood. Plus, there were some technical hurdles ahead. I started to get anxious and started to calculate consequences. Do I need to drop everything now and jump in the call with these guys on the teleconference now to sort things out? The next deployment window is sometime next week. If I missed it, we need to go through 2 change approval boards again. That could take some time. How am I going to explain to my telecom operator customers tomorrow morning? What are they going to tell their customer who have already paid the go-to-market materials to go very soon? As I was thinking those questions to myself, the baby's crying voice got progressively louder than my own thoughts. That was my typical night struggle for 2 years in my previous work as a telecom integration engineer. My life wasn't always stressful. Flashback 5 years ago, I graduated from the University of Melbourne as an engineering student, and I was recruited by one of the world's largest leading global telecommunications company as a graduate engineer. I'm getting paid to work on some of the world's most expensive telecom systems, and only a handful of people knows how to work on. My clients were largest telecom operators in Australia who spent millions of dollars every year just to keep them running and business rolling. I lived in the cozy rental apartment in South Yarra, which is a posh little suburb where a young professional loves to live in Melbourne. With my newly wedded wife at the time, my weekends were spent on exploring various places in Melbourne, meeting new people, friends, and planning my next overseas holidays. Occasionally, my wife and I look around in the property market and shop for our ideal home, our first home to buy. There was no pressure, no worries. Everything worked out just fine. After all, the worst case scenario is I'll be comfortable at work as an engineer, gain the experience slowly, and I'll be as good as some of my senior colleagues who got looked after by the company very well, and they've been there for decades. My clients all trusted me very well, They really valued me as an experienced API integrations engineer to guide their clients to a successful partnership by building integrations to the platform. There was no reason to work harder or to improve myself. There's no reason to get paid more. The money I saved, I spent it all as I like. Everyone was happy. So what happened? I got my wife pregnant. It was totally my fault. Yes, I know that. So I had to take on a responsibility which I never imagined myself to take on. Parenting. I heard many years ago about newborn subsidy that Australian government generously offered to parents. But when I got around to it, it was long gone. So for 12 months, while my wife was on maternity leave, our household income halved. With the graduate salary and the new house mortgage that I got, we were eating into our savings. The savings were little thanks to all of the overseas holidays. At work, I took on a lot more responsibilities as I got more experienced. At the same time, the global mobile telecommunication market was in decline for years. So downsizing and layoff in the name of reorganization or restructuring occurs every 6 months. The added responsibility soon become a paramount of responsibility to ensure the critical infrastructure of the nation is running incident-free and clients' business are rolling. As a cost saving, anything can be offshored, is offshored, so the challenge of communication and time zone differences comes into play. I questioned a few times in my last job whether I learned English properly or if the people on the other end of the telephone conference did. As my seniors are getting increasingly busy and more concerned about their job security, there was even less time for me to upskill and being shuttled by them. On top of that, my family has made some investment mistakes and our restaurant business started to decline after two decades of operating. So here goes my insurance plan. Oh, did I mention I have a newborn baby that is hard to get to sleep? So life happened. My daughter's birth was a milestone in my life and in my career. It kept me up at night, like literally, but also made me question the mentality of the topic, the mentality I have on the topic of growth. It gave me a reality check and made me question the pace that I was taking in my personal growth and career growth. I was actually working like I had 1,000 years to spare and no pressure to advance at all. I needed to change fast. There's not much time left. Over the next decade or so, because my life is not as simple as before, I have less time and energy, so I need to spend them carefully. I wanted to become someone someday, then I really need to start executing my plans now. I needed a career change, but at the same time, I also want to be doing something that I enjoy for the 8 hours of my day, sometimes longer. So I needed to satisfy two goals, that is a career progression and also a general well-being improvement. Career progression means I need to up my skills and earn more dollars. General well-being means I need to be happier at work. So I gotta ask myself two questions. Where did the time go? Did I spend the time on improving my career and money? And did I work on things that I enjoy work on? To figure it out, I took a complete audit of my current ways of working. I listed all of my duties and responsibility of my current work and ranked them based on how much I enjoyed them. So I started to also log my work in 10 minutes block for the 2 whole weeks coming. Something amazing was found. I was actually spending most of my time on things that I didn't enjoy and only spent very little time on things that I did. The surprising thing is the stuff that I enjoy doing was actually things that I get paid for. It's the thing that will deliver most value to my company. That task is to help the development team of my clients to integrate to our product faster and better. It was obvious that if I kept going like the way I'm working right now, I'll become unhappier and create lesser value. So I showed my findings to my manager at the time and asked for a way to make it better. I was allowed to say no to certain tasks and being able to delegate that to other people. And I was given a budget of time and money, resources, basically, to build automation into my workflow so I can free myself up for the higher value creation tasks. I did that. It was good, but not good enough. I think I ended up saving about 80% of my time. So I spent all those time working with my client, doing API support, evangelizing about our platform to the enterprise clients we had at the time. There was 12 of them. But I wondered at some point, is it possible to spend all of my time working on the things that I enjoyed? At the time, I was at a sort of a fork of my career. I once went to a career conference and someone told me in IT, a career path looks like the letter T. You start with a horizontal line, and as you more specialize in specific area of IT, you'll focus on the I and the T. So in a way, we're all looking for that specialization that we're going to have later down in the career. At the time, I was I could go with a solution architect, or I could go down the developer path and just code. So for the developer path, I started doing hacker ranks. I started doing a lot of lead code, and I attended a few interviews to get a senior developer role or just a developer role. But I failed many companies' interviews. So these are really good companies in Melbourne, Zendesk, Ivato, AWS, Google, just to name a few. But after a while, I stopped trying because it looks like my development skills are not up to scratch. I also had many failed interviews for solution architects. So I started getting CCNA, AWS certificates to make up the fact that I lack those experience. And I thought those certificates can give me a license to talk about system architecture in an interview. After a whole 1.5 years of pursuit, I finally realized that neither was the answer to my next job that can bring growth and happiness to me. When I saw the developer evangelist job role, I suddenly found my dream job, because in this job, my current role, it allows me to get a career path that combines my technical skills and people skills together. It allows me to work on things that give me most satisfaction. That is to help developers to get from A to B through integrating to our API sets. I got to get this job, I said to myself at the time. I later learned that the method that I have used to order my work and find the work happiness can be explained by Hollands Code, which was developed in 1970s by John Holland. He developed a popular theory of interest development based on around 6 personality types, as you can see from the screen. His idea is that the job you're doing shouldn't change you, but you should know your personalities well and shape your career to suit it. Because when work suits you, it energizes you. It makes you feel better. It amplifies your personality. I think it is for this reason I was a strong candidate for the job in Xero. My interview process with Sid, who's my current boss, and then my boss's boss at the time, went very smoothly. And they almost didn't feel like interviews. They were just like two similar like-minded people chatting to each other. We had a technical exercise, but it was easy, and I delivered ahead of deadline. I was very happy when I got my offer letter, and I was being a little bit greedy and negotiated a bit on my salary. So fast forward to today, I've now been Xero for 2 years as developer evangelist. I'm still loving every minute of my job. And yes, the honeymoon is still not over yet with my work. On a daily basis, I meet plenty of app or developer partners of Xero. There's a community of 50,000 here. I speak and help the Xero community developers. Sometimes I go out to conferences. Sometimes I attend tech talks. Sometimes we have our own webinars and make videos to educate the mass. I write developer blogs to educate them on how to get started with our API set, our SDK tools. And also I get to talk a little bit about IT leadership, thought leadership. I'm making open source developer tools and SDK for my company at the moment. I'm heavily involved in the .NET project. I'm being very much the glue in the company for marketing team, sales team, technical team, and also go-to-market teams. Everything is done in my job for a really good reason, and most of the things are done for the public betterment of the developer community. Yes, I still do go overtime working, but it doesn't feel like working because my personal goals and career goals are really aligned. Work is just the extension of growing myself personally. So what did I learn in the last few years? I realized I don't have 1,000 years left in my work career. Usually the work career is shorter than the work career is definitely shorter than your life. And your work career will end it before your life ends, hopefully, unless you end it on the same day. I stopped telling myself to chase my dreams someday because someday will never come if I don't start now. Whenever I'm not happy at work, I do an audit of my time, check my personalities, and find out if I'm working on the things that I should prioritize myself for. I make a plan, but I start quickly. I get closer one step at a time. When my personal goals and career goals are aligned, I don't feel like work is work. It's just part of me. Well, that's all. I think I took about 15 minutes.
Pretty darn close. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for kind of sharing just that overview of your journey. And I'd love to open up kind of the floor to our fellows here to kind of talk a little bit about where you're starting from, and hopefully you can get some advice here on your next steps. So who would like to start? And unmute and kind of share your background and your story. More so of like where you're coming from right now, I guess.
Who's my favorite IDE right now is Visual Studio Code. The best IDE in the universe for the .NET developers. Yeah. So at my work, I have the luxury of playing with a few languages and not just limited to one. What we have done is, in order to make the life of our fellow developer partners easier, we have studied how they use our APIs, and we sort of survey them quite a bit through our engagements on what languages they use. And we made a list of 6 to 7 languages to focus on. We're fortunate because there's a large user base, and they usually tell us what language they want first. So we work on basically all languages, and with the help of open API specification, we're able to generate SDKs, that is developer tools, for every single language that we think is important in our community. And I myself was involved in Python, Ruby, .NET, and I was trying to dip my toes in Golang a little bit, but someone else is working on that right now, so there's no point to double handle that. So I was really fortunate to use a few languages, and Visual Studio Code being an excellent text editor, and now with the extensions is pretty powerful IDE, and I'm able to do the development in Visual Studio Code in multiple languages. So I like that for now. It's neat.
One question that we do usually get is, what were you studying at university, and do you do anything like the MLH Fellowship that really helped set you up for success?
I wish I knew MLH Fellowship when I was in uni. I was spending my time in the theaters, university theaters, production group. I got sucked in by one group, and then they invite me to another, a musical one, and then they invite me to another. So here goes my first 3 years of uni free time. So it was basically doing all those things, and I discovered my girlfriend in my second year. So I said no to them, hard no, and I spent all of my free time just chasing my girlfriend at the time. I studied electronics engineering, EE, electrical engineering at Melbourne Uni. It's a hard subject, and I was studying civil engineering at the time. a girl who graduated, a Chinese girl who graduated from triple E, and said, Jenks, civil engineering is easy. Plus the job situation is not very hard. Sorry if there's any civil engineers here. Triple E is hard, and the career situation is much better when you graduate. So I switched halfway through. I did lose some points, but I was able to make it up later by taking on more subjects. But I was able to make that switch, and that got closer to programming, because learning hardware at some point you got to do embedded design, system design, and with embedded system design you got to do some C programming, at least assembly. People don't use assembly anymore, but you can use one of the languages and interpret into assembly these days. So that was my first experience with coding. After I graduated, I couldn't get an engineering job because the electronics engineering and electrical engineering, basically dealing with power and stuff, there were very little job posting out there. So I quickly realized that I need to do software. There were a lot of IT service company here. And I started trying myself on technology, basically IT general skills, master of all trades. Jack of all trades, master of none. But I was lucky to have won the graduate program in Ericsson in Melbourne at the time. That was because of my degree, and also I must have said something right in my interview to get the job. But I was lucky enough to get in there. Telecom is not strictly speaking IT, but it was close enough because they were transitioning into IT. I then realized I need to spend a lot more time on IT, so I started to get certificates, started to do to do a little bit of development, even though there was no opportunity to develop at the time. So I really wanted to get into tech. I really should have gotten into programming, computer science really early on in my uni days. And I wish I had like MLH Fellowship to participate in, to basically practice and code and put it on my resume. My life would have been a lot easier. Job hunting would have been a lot easier then. And I probably would get paid a lot more than early on than I had.
It looks like we have a couple questions in the chat. So how do you manage your tasks and time?
Manage tasks and time? Yeah, that's a hard thing to do every day. But look, every once in a while, if I feel struggling, or if I feel that I'm not progressing in my career, so basically the feeling that you get, you're comfortable with everything, but then looking ahead 6 months time, you're going to be doing the same thing as you're doing right now. As soon as you get that feeling, I take down whatever, I categorize all of the tasks and start to calculate the time I spend on them. And that gives you an idea on what to prioritize. So I constantly do that kind of audit, probably every 3 months time, sometimes even monthly. I do that kind of audit, and then focus on the priorities. I think one of the mistakes that I have had for like many years was just work hard, right? I mean, the managers want you to work hard. Part of my Asian culture tells me like, you got to work hard to get paid. My parents tell me to work hard. You know, if the salary is not good, don't worry about that, but just work hard for the company. That was good. I mean, but like when you're working hard, you also need to work on the right things. So what I do is I check with my manager, you know, where are you going, right? Well, what's your strategy? What's your deliverables for this year? What will make you happy if our team achieves such and such and such? I ask those questions to them to get some feedback of the dynamic of the team and dynamic of where they want to go, and then work on the things that is beneficial for the team's goal. Yeah, so very right. Work smart, not just hard. But you can work hard. But you gotta work smart first. That will amplify the output.
Another kind of along those lines is your work around right now. So working remote, how is that when it comes to managing tasks and deadlines?
It's a bit hard. We just had a childcare shutdown here. So daycare center shutdown here from today. So working with the toddler is going to be very challenging. So unfortunately, this means I'll have to block out some of my calendars during the day and reject to some meetings, and then dedicate my evening time to work and catch up. Thankfully, my work is not time sensitive, so I can do that. It is a bit tricky at the moment. So one tip that I can give you is be selfish with your time. In work, typically in the afternoon, past lunchtime, everyone wants the piece of your time to help them out. In a company like Xero, they expect things to turn over really fast. So everyone starts slacking you, starting to give you little tasks. And if you chip in 10 minutes to someone and 10 minutes to another one, here goes your hour. So, and by the end of the day, you've got something, you want to finish for that day, 2 or 3 things, most important things you want to do. And you won't be able to do that because you're busy responding to other people. So what I wanted to ask you to do is to be selfish in the morning, or whenever you feel like you can get a quiet piece of time, block out all of the notification, try to get your things done. You can read a book, you can study, and that will pay off in the long term. For example, recently I started learning about single sign-on, and I block out some morning times, Monday and Tuesday or something like that, start just to code and read examples and do that. I did that, and thankfully that paid off, because a couple of days after that, we decided to do a single sign-on webinar, because we're trying to get people to adopt that. So if I didn't improve myself, if I didn't do those readings and be selfish with my time, I won't be able to catch those opportunities later on. So whatever you think is cool, makes you happy, do it now, block it out, and be prepared for the opportunities.
Great. Another thing along those lines from the chat is, which tool do you use to do your time accounting?
Right. So I'm really primitive on that. I use a text editor just to list the big categories of time. And before I start to do the work, I put a stopwatch or something like that for a few minutes. Well, before the task and when it ends, and just focus on that task and stop it, block the time against that category. Sometimes it doesn't have to be accurate. You just need to, you can do that by the end of the week as well, but it will be really rough. You can go back and find out what kind of a task took most of your time and categorize it. It's about finding out whether the stuff you're working on really is important. That's the main idea.
Perfect. Another question here from the chat is, how did you learn the technologies in computer science domains?
How did I learn it? It's mostly online libraries. So I did a lot of lynda.com, which is now LinkedIn Learning. I did heaps of Khan Academy was doing tech at the time. So I started with CMS development, WordPress and all that, did a lot of PHP. And then I started to realize that, people don't build web applications like a blog site. So I had to learn some hardcore stuff. Then I started with Code Academy for practice coding. But most of the time it's on job. I do a bit of a short video course to understand the concept, and then start digging deep into how to make that happen. I don't have a set ways of learning technology, really. I really wish that I learned computer science properly in uni and understand all of the principles of those programming disciplines, patterns, and all that. But I didn't, so I have to make it up with fragmented time in work and life now to make up. So if you're studying computer science, go hard on the concepts, make sure you cover as many things as possible. Like I said, like at the beginning of the career, you have that breadth. So you do a little bit of system admin, you do a little bit of DevOps, you do a little bit of development, and trying to understand all of them. Don't worry if you're not deep in any area, because you get to specialize later on.
Another question that quite a few of our speakers have been asked is, in your industry, what are some trends or things that you're seeing that will be coming down in the tech world in the next 5 or so years?
Yeah, so Kubernetes. I learned a joke the other day. So one developer was trying to explain. Oh, it goes like this. I at work I try to explain Kubernetes to another engineer, and then after I explained that, we were both confused. We both didn't understand how it works. So at Xero, we're trying to convert all of the monolith applications into containerized applications. We're using API first kind of principle to allow everyone to talk. We're going to break all of the big databases into small databases, getting more and more microservices focused. And that effort hopefully will pay off later on in system performance, lower maintenance, less workers, trying to maintain those things, quicker deployment cycle. But also getting everything containerized means we can use the black magic of Kubernetes. So automatic scaling up, doing a lot of funky deployment stuff that will never they'll never have any downtime. There's heaps of benefits of using that. And with all of that, we hope we can achieve cloud native. So being able to shift from one cloud to another. Right now, we're tied heavily to AWS and we can't move. But if we're able to take our code base and put it anyone else infrastructure, basically put any other cloud platform, then we have a lot more redundancy than we have now. So that's really popular from a DevOps perspective. If you're interested in backend, those pipelines, deployment, and staff infrastructure of IT, then that's a place to focus on. And you can just do that by yourself. Now in development, we're doing agile ways of working, so everyone knows about that. I think the trend is like people are focusing on more and more solving the harder problems, so the people problems. So replacing human with machines. That's what Zijing is working on actually. So a lot of AI problems is quite popular in the accounting industry. No code accounting is mentioned here. So basically, a lot of accountants need to do a little bit of script and write a program to make their job easier. We're trying to make it as code-free as possible, and we are doing that by using AI technology. Optical character recognition is the first step. Then we're going to put AI logic in there. So when you take a picture of a bill, it gets automatically put into the right category. So that gets rid of the need for bookkeepers entering those and categorizing things. And then you can do a lot of interesting stuff like filing tax and stuff like that in Xero. So AI, machine learning is hot topic. And if you want to get the big bucks, you should focus on those areas, or at least have that as a hobby right now, aside of your main job.
We have another couple questions in the chat here, more about Xero. Are there blockchain integration at Xero?
No, not that I know of. We did, so on the developer evangelist team, we did have one article about how to integrate to a blockchain system to create an immutable general ledger. Right now, I'm not aware of any projects going on to investigate blockchain integration. We're still very much focusing on improving our core product, winning the market in UK, US. We already did in AU, we're pretty big for small and medium businesses. Those cool technologies are really good, but I think blockchain and like IoT, it has its importance in certain industries, but for any new technology, it needs to prove the commercial viability, and it hasn't gone to that phase yet. It hasn't been proven to be commercially viable at the moment to be widely adopted. So everyone's like Xero is waiting for that to be confirmed by the whole world before jumping onto it. So yeah, no, I don't know any. Maybe there is a secret department that no one knows in our company, in the bunker of Auckland or Wellington that works on this project. But no, we're not.
Another one about Xero is, what is the best GPU setup you have there?
What's a GPU? Graphic processing unit?
It's a great question. Yes.
I don't know. I'm using a Mac, so with the integrated graphic card, and it couldn't be shittier actually. But it does the job. It allows me to do Zoom. It allows me to do programming. I haven't tried a video game on my work computer yet, but maybe one day I can try. I really want to get a PC for that kind of stuff because the computer games these days looks amazing. Yeah, I'm working on that.
Another, in the company is that they mean the best GPU setup they have at the company.
Oh, we use well, do you mean for like production stuff, like in our products?
I guess I got a Japanese. Yeah, I mean for like training new networks because it's
Oh
very,
yeah, all right, that
yeah.
yeah. So AWS, they have machines specific for that. Yeah, so we don't have our own infrastructure. We're all cloud based. I can't tell you how many times the developers or other companies says, or big banks come over here. Hey, Xero, you guys have an API, so it's api.xero.com. Can you give us the IP address to whitelist, please? We would like to whitelist just your IP address. Then we tell them, no, we don't give out static IP address. We might change it anytime. So whitelist the domain. So even that, like to a bank, that's like not acceptable. We have so many fights with banks, security people. They just couldn't believe you're doing this. You're only allowing domains. So we're quite flexible. So everything can be done on the cloud. Is done on cloud. The data center and all that all outsourced to cloud platforms. Yeah, so I doubt that we'll have any GPU set up. But I know the AI coders will probably have really sick laptops. Dell XPS or something like that.
What's the I'm curious, like what's the largest deep learning project budget that you guys have?
I don't know. I haven't done any budget training. I haven't been given the budget. And I should work on that, hey? Maybe when I become a manager with a few people under me, I'll be able to have the pleasure of doing budget.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, but if we follow the financial year of New Zealand, so everything seems to be decided in, March or April? Yeah, financial year ends in March, I think. Yeah. So no money until like May or something is what it means to us.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I was trying to get the scale of the scope of like of engineering that you guys need to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, but anyway, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. What is everyone working on?
Yeah. If you guys want to share a little bit about your projects right now that you're working on, just for context, all of our fellows are contributing to open source projects. So you guys can share a little bit about what your projects are right now in our last few minutes.
Yeah, if you have time, go to my repository, Xero Net Standard, and raise some issues there. It's don't look at the numbers now. It's there's like 20 issues or so. I'm still chasing them up. I have very limited time to maintain it. I'm getting smashed by a lot of grumpy Australian developers here. But yeah, I love open source. It's I like the open culture of it. Everything I do is public. I don't have to hide anything. It's just good. Yeah, that means I also can't hide my bugs issues. Are you contributing or just using open source stuff right now? What's the link? Oh well, I can share it with you. But no funny business, all right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if you guys want to unmute and tell a little bit about what you're working on. I'm not quite sure what everyone's projects are individually right now.
Oh, you mean like a fellowship for the fellow?
Yes.
Or for the...
Yep, your fellowship project.
Oh, I see. Right now I'm working on the SciML for MIT. we're doing neural net differential equation systems. They are doing something really amazing in combining the symbolic mathematics, like the modeling, the math, the triple E stuff or double E in the US. But on the side, I'm working on a attention manager, like it's like an app that counts your time spent on every single task. That's why I was curious, like how do you manage? Because Simi went through a lot with the stress of life and work. So I was curious. Yeah, so I'm working
drop a
on
few
those
things
two.
if it's giving you stress.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So those two things are what I'm working on at the moment. In my university, I'm working on question generation. I think you already know. What am I saying? Yeah.
I know. Yeah. What the thing with uni is there's so many subjects going on at the same time, so context switching will pretty much kill you. And on the back of your mind, and when you're working or doing other things, you're still worried about your uni stuff, assignments, upcoming exams and stuff, the classes you have missed. So it was hard. Once you get to work, you get to focus on just a few things and switch off after hours. I can't anymore because I got to care for the child these days. But yeah, enjoy it while you can. And don't get into this parenting thing too early.
Yeah. I got a feeling that most of the professors assume that, say for my supervisor would assume that doing question generation is the only thing that I do in life. So basically, he asked like a lot of requests, like change this today, like later today. Yeah. So yeah, university. But it will end soon, so I wish after that I can explore like a lot more. Like as you said, like in the IT, like the T bar, I want the horizontal one to be much wider. Oh, I got another question. Was just kind of curious. Like, what's the largest cybersecurity concern that you ever had in your career?
Cybersecurity experience.
Yeah, like an incident.
Being attacked. Someone sent me an email saying, I got your password and we're going to share a video to your friends if you don't pay us some Bitcoins. That was a big cybersecurity event that I recently experienced. I checked with my friends. They didn't receive any naked picture of myself or any video of myself. But yeah, I think, but they did get my password right. Maybe it's from some leaked platform that they got, but nothing happened. Yeah, I didn't have to pay for that. We're all right. We're going through some compliance stuff in our ecosystem right now. So forcing everyone to be security compliant. It's fun work, but it's mostly pushing paper. I'd love to see more smarts built into security, like being able to recognize certain patterns of API usage or user usage and use machines to do a rudimentary sort of detection of anomaly, and then have human going to intervene, investigate. I'd love to see those things being built, but it's hard sell to the leadership right now because they're typically waiting for an incident to happen before they do anything.
Hey, what's the largest incident that ever happened to Xero?
We got a few app partners who leaked data to other companies, so financial data. So very sensitive. It could be payroll data sometimes. So that's the biggest I had to deal with. But most of the time, the partners are very collaborative because we all work under the Australian Tax Office framework for security. So we need to notify them, and they need to notify them as well. And they put those people's details on monitoring system for a while in case someone use their details to make tax fraud. But that's as much as it goes. When that incident happens, I basically have to work really long hours with the partner, get them to update every second day or every day on progress to resolve. But on our end, we shut their API off if they show any sign of of not managing it well or not being able to manage it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
For that. That is our company as well is Bitcoin hacked as well. So it seems to be not MLH, a former company, but yes, common hack there. Well, we are a little over on time, so I just want to say thank you so much. I want to be respectful of everybody's time here for the rest of start of your day, end of your day. But feel free to reach out, check out this amazing GitHub page here. Maybe look at some issues from Jenks.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or connect to me or just have a chat. Feel free. Yeah, I'm open to chat.
Perfect.
If it's too much, I'll tell you now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and have a great day or rest your day.
All right. Bye, Naomi. Yeah, I'm reading your chat. Oh, thank you for being here. And thank you, Yan. Hey, thanks, Jing. Good to see you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Leia.